Belfast. Now you have to ask yourself the question, how come Carrickfergus in the 12th century, how come almost 500 years later, before Belfast began to develop? There's something like 12 rivers flow through Belfast, most of them now piped underground, and it's a very swampy part of the world. It didn't have any coal, it didn't have any lead, it didn't have any iron ore, but thanks to all these rivers, it had lots of clay. Throw them back again. And then we get bored throwing them, we build some houses. So up around the Queen's area, you're going to see lots of buildings made out of red Belfast brick. Now in 1637, a very handy thing happened. A customs official in Carrickfergus decided to sell the sailing rights, the customs rights of the loch. He decided to sell them to Belfast. I can only assume he'd been hit in the head by a brick. Thereafter, any dealings, any tradings going on in the loch, all the monies came into Belfast. Carrickfergus stopped growing, and Belfast started to grow and become that industrial powerhouse of Victorian times, and continues today as our capital city. That's if you're a unionist, of course. You're going to see lots of references to Belfast. In fact, we're going to go up here, we're going to swing left onto Victoria Street, and the first building you will see as we turn left on the right hand side is Belfast Town Hall. For a while it was used as a family court, now it's not used as a barracks. On the right, that's the town hall, and then beyond it you will see the barracks. Can't find a way in. Over on the left, the yellow fountain. It's a memorial to Jews who came to work in the linen industry. And then there's a bar for you, Biddle's Bar, the smallest bar in Belfast. It has unflattering caricatures of politicians. It's a lovely little bar, well worth a visit, but be warned, he doesn't like people ordering half pints. Quite happy if you're ordering pints, but he doesn't like it if you're ordering half pints. Now if you go down Church Lane at the side of Biddle's for about 200 yards, I guess I'm a meat eater. Coming up in front of us here on the right hand side, the Albert Clock. Remember Victorian City? Queen Albert, Queen Victoria's husband, Prince Albert, passed away. Belfast built that memorial to him. It's at a bit of an angle, as you can see, because swampy Belfast, we didn't sink the foundations deeply enough. Or is it because it's the docks area? In the docks area we had the red light district, and the suggestion is that whilst waiting for or engaged with the Scots agency, closed on a Saturday when the tourists are here. Very clever. So the people would make up the unionist population. Come up here on the right, Custom House and Custom House Square. Thank you, that little man in Carrick who sent all the monies here. That's what some of the monies was spent on. The GPO were in there. It's now a big office setup. Very plush place. Come up on the left, you might see Sammy the Seal. You may not see him, but you'll definitely see the big fish, the salmon of knowledge. It's a ceramic history of Belfast by John Kindness. It's been there since 1999 to celebrate the return of salmon to the River Lagan. I have travelled the length and breadth of the River Lagan. I've never seen a fisherman. When a fisherman returns, I'm starting a campaign to get a statue raised to him. Okay, over the River Lagan, we've just left the nicest of the 32 counties, County Antrim, and we're about to enter the second nicest county down. I have offended every other Irish person on the bus. But myself and John are from County Antrim, and we're now both living in County Down. So we're slightly biased. So we're picking on to stop 2 at the Odyssey. Again, if you're here tomorrow, somewhere to go if the rains come on, there are 3 food franchises there. There is Crazy Golf, there is 10-pin bowling, there's a great big Cineworld, and best of all, there is W5, Who, What, Why, When, Where, a hands-on science initiative for the child in all of us. And trust me, the last Friday in this month they have an adults only night. Sounds sleazy. It's not really. You're not just not fighting with a 6-year-old to get onto the piece of apparatus. Somebody wishing off at stop 2. Okay, when you look straight down the road, all the way down the road and then up to the skyline, can you see the big white building? All the way straight down the road, up to the skyline, the big white building up in the trees. That is our lunatic asylum. Every 4 years or so we find 90 of the most disagreeable, argumentative people we can find, and we send them up there and they fight and they fall out and they disagree. That is Stormont. That is our legislative assembly. But it's auspicious times here. Some people probably said diapers. But now take a look straight ahead of you. Great big white buildings. Absolutely beautiful. Before COVID, the bus tours used to go up there for some reason, save money. Now they don't. So we have the giant cranes here of Harland and Wolff. We have Samson and Goliath. They have been here since 1969 and one other one since 1974. They're nice guides. I'm obviously not a nice guide. The nice guides tell everybody the H and the W stands for hello and welcome to Belfast. And boy, when Fred Olsen took over the line, they were so glad he didn't change the letters. Fred Olsen, do I have to explain this to you? Slowly. This large ship in the dry dock was called the Sea Rose. It is a floating, processing, storing oil ship. It's usually off the coast of Newfoundland and it's been in for a major refit. The sad thing is, I read somewhere that all the people working on it are Canadians, so they flew them all over to work. It's as if they're just using our dry dock. I hope that's not actually true, but I've a horrible feeling it is. Straight in front of us, the red brick building, that was the headquarters of Harland and Wolff, also the drawing office. That's where Thomas Andrews designed the great ships. Well worth going in just to have a coffee, and then deciding you need the toilet, and then you get lost going for the toilet and you're on the wrong floor. This is what I did. And there are lots of posters, there are lots of models, there are lots of things to see. You can actually download an app of the Titanic Hotel, and as you wander through the hotel, click on the buttons, it tells you all the important places. Off to the left, those girders mark the Oral Gantry. That's where the Olympic and the Titanic were built side by side. That's the slipways. It was launched the 31st of May 1911. Hit the iceberg the following year at 11:40 p.m. on the 14th of April and sank early on the 15th. Coming up in front of us here on the left, that was the paint hall of Harland and Wolff. It's now Titanic Studios. In there they shot the indoor scenes for Game of Thrones, Line of Duty, Blue Lights. In fact, they're shooting another spin-off at the moment. So we're heading up to stop 4 at HMS Caroline, the last surviving ship from the Battle of Jutland of 1916. She's actually a C-class light cruiser. Alright, John is a special treat for you. He's going to take you in round Caroline. Also up here we have Titanic Distillery. It's a new distillery opened a couple of months ago. And also up here we have the dry dock that the Titanic was fitted out in. The distillery tour, Titanic Distilleries, at the end of their tour you get a free glass of whiskey. At the end of my tour you'll need a lot more than a glass of whiskey. You need a bit of bottle. So see, Caroline, very narrow stern. She was a very fast ship. She actually could do almost 30 knots, which is what modern destroyers do. She's a very high crow's nest, as you can see, because the whole idea was Caroline was sent out in front of the fleet to identify the enemy. So the enemy should be looking for the enemy, looking for smoke trails from their funnels, because there's no radar in those days. Then, having identified the enemy, should then get out of there as quickly as possible and get back to safety. So, last surviving ship from the Battle of Jutland. And it's now a museum. Prior to that, she was the headquarters of the Royal Naval Reserve in Northern Ireland. Queen Victoria reigned for 63 years and 7 months. This love affair was one way. How long she spent in Belfast? 4 hours. 4 hours. I washed my hair for the tour the following day. 4 hours. She much preferred Scotland. Before Scottish people get too cocky down there, or did she much prefer her Scottish gamekeeper, one John Brown? And the story, the royal scandal is, when she was married, she was clasping a photograph to her bosom. Was the photograph of Prince Albert, with whom she had 9 children? No, the photograph was of John Brown. The dead can't sue, isn't that correct? Tell me the dead can't sue. Tell me the royals won't get me. She came in 1849 for those 4 hours, and one of the things she did was she opened this bridge. We're about to go over this bridge to go back in towards the city centre. And what do you think she called the bridge? She called the bridge the Queen's Bridge. Now we have Queen's University. So this is the Queen's Bridge, and it actually replaced the long bridge of 1685. The people on from the beginning, I was telling how swampy Belfast was. The long bridge of 1685 was something like 850 yards long with 21 arches. This bridge, again, a civil engineer, a man called Charles Lanyon, who also designed, must have been an architect, he must have been some guy actually, because he designed most of the beautiful Victorian buildings in Belfast. So coming in, the first piece of modern artwork, we don't have a lot of modern artwork in Belfast, but we do love it, we do respect it. This is known as the Beacon of Hope, and it's held in such great awe that the locals refer to it as the thing with the ring. Down on the left, the Belfast Barge. That's a little museum looking at the history of the river. Sadly, if you look at the back, if you can see, it's charred because there was a fire on it and it is currently closed. This is Oxford Street, heavily bombed during the Troubles, possibly because the law courts are on it. You can't send me to prison if you can't sentence me. So coming up on the right, Lagan side courts, built obviously after the Troubles. It's made out of glass. And then just beyond it we have a pedestrianised road with a very thick, ugly looking wall sticking out of the side. That's the Royal Courts of Justice. And on the left actually are Waterfront Hall. There's conferences held there, there are concerts held there, and that's where Bono grabbed the arms of John Hume and David Trimble, held them aloft in the signing of the Good Friday Agreement, and also revealing the sweat stains under their armpits. They're oxters. Anybody know the word oxter is armpit? No. Every day is a teaching day. It's an old Victorian covered market to say, if you're here tomorrow, there'll be live music in it, lots of places to buy food. It covers all tastes, from my daughter to me, from vegan to meat eater. So say tomorrow it's open until 4 o'clock. This caused a problem in the 19th century with the whisky distillers. One of the officials came in to the priest, he says, "Father, we have a problem." And the priest said, "What's the problem, my son?" Because that's the way they speak. And the official said, "Father, the bell is so loud that the whisky cannot settle in the oak casks. Whisky is put into old sherry casks, old oak sherry casks. It's left there for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years to develop the flavours, the tones. Well, apparently the vibrations from this bell were such that it wasn't happening." So as we all know, the old priest likes the old glass of whisky, so they put some felt round the clanger. The bell was quietened, and I suppose one could say that now both spirit worlds were happy again. True story. This is known as the Linen Quarter. Now, Belfast was originally a cotton town. Couldn't compete with the cotton towns of Lancashire, so it turned to linen. And then as luck would have it, in the 18th, luck for Belfast but not luck for others. In the 1860s, we had the American Civil War, which meant that cotton was no longer being picked and linen became king. Belfast became known as Linenopolis. Now our next three stops are dedicated to our national pastime, drinking. Our next three stops are 3 bars. So there's quite a lot to see as we go up and turn around the